We should hopefully be live. Hello. Welcome to your Panthers Overlord stream.
Yeah, no need to rub it in.
It's been 18 years. Let us enjoy it. What's another 18 years? 2021. So it's going to be like
30, 39, yeah.
So we'll see again in 2039. So let us enjoy it. We don't get many. The funniest part is, remember the other day I said to you, you guys had actually won a grand final more recently than us.
Yeah.
Like,
I can't even rub that in anymore.
Like, that's the part that blew my mind. I'm like, well, hang on a minute. Holy crap. You think about it, the Storm and Roosters have been dominating everything for so bloody long.
We had a decade of failure, but we still had a more recent grand final win than you.
And that's the funny thing is, bottom 8 teams, fans of bottom 8 teams, like Canberra and all this sort of stuff, this year that they had a good run there, made a grand final, but everyone giving a shit, oh, you haven't won anything. And it's the funniest part is, I'm like, so does that mean the Tigers are better than you since they've won more recently? I can name like half the comp. Tigers have won a comp more recently. So which is it? It's like, I mean, you know, but hey, all's fair in love and war and all that, and in the football banter. But I would just need the Tigers to get up there. But hey, they kept Madge though, so that's something. But yes, I am definitely celebrating. I don't drink very often, but I got myself a 6-pack of Canadian Club just to enjoy, because like I said, this doesn't happen very often. It's amazing. It's wonderful. We had Panthers fans crying, and you should have seen me when Stephen Crichton took that intercept. The wife was telling me to calm down, and I just pointed at her, and I was just like, no.
Know your place. This is my time.
And it's like, yeah, because this just doesn't happen for us. Like, it's insane. Even when we had a good run, we had Anthony Griffin. Everyone brags about, oh, hey, you made finals 3 years in a row. And it's like, you know what? We couldn't beat top 4 teams. We sucked against the good teams. And then we get to this point, Ivan Cleary comes back, we have a crap year, and then you have 2 good years, make a grand final, and then to win a grand final after 18 years, it's like, the amount of emotion in it is just insane. Like, I was literally on the edge of the couch. Like, I was worried. We got a new couch delivered last week. It took 8 weeks for them to bring it out to us. Like, because they had to make it from scratch and everything. I'm like, I was worried I'd broken the lounge.
Just break it immediately.
I was genuinely worried because I was like bouncing and I was jumping up and down and all over the place. And like I said, the Crichton intercept was the big one.
Tell me about the relief when Reynolds, well, first of all, when Reynolds missed his conversion, and then when he bounced the field goal attempt.
Oh, when he missed that conversion, it's funny, he was lining up the kick, and you know how obviously fans in the crowd heckle the kicker, right? We've seen it with Dewey. I remember one of my favorite ones is Adam Dewey. Compensate.
Yeah, at Manly last year.
Manly. at not Brookvale. That was one of my favorites. But yeah, I was sitting on the couch screaming at Adam Dewey. I mean, not Adam Dewey on the brain now. But who doesn't? I mean, everyone likes Adam Dewey. But yeah,
NRL guys.
Yeah, exactly. Screaming at Adam Reynolds, because both their names are Adam. Too many Adams in the comp.
Shoelace Renault.
Are you clutch, Renault? And especially
we needed
Dewey on the side.
Dewey in the stands, just behind him at that moment.
we just need to give Adam Dewey like a VIP pass to sit in the sideline there.
At the exact moment when Reynolds is taking his kick.
But the thing that makes that more tense is because Adam Reynolds is so good at it.
He is probably the second best goal kicker in the history of the comp, maybe third best.
Yeah, like
I'd put him behind probably El Masri and Cam Smith.
Yeah.
He's right up there behind those guys, I reckon.
Like, out of current players, him and Cleary are the best kickers in the comp, hands down. These are the two. Like, if someone's kicking for a grand final victory in the current competition, you want one of them two doing it. And he happened to be doing it. And you're like, and that's what makes it more stressful. Like if you've got, someone else doing it who's got like maybe a lesser record, like 70% kick record, you probably feel a bit more comfortable. Like, Moses, where the Eels lost to us earlier in the year because Moses missed a kick. You're probably feeling a little bit more comfortable. You're like, okay, it's not too bad. But Adam Reynolds is a freaking sniper with his goal kicking.
He's known for it.
Yeah, it's his thing. His kicking game is absolutely insane. He must practice the absolute crap out of that.
Like, you see how many clutch ones he gets through a typical season.
There was a game, it was either this year or last year, and he had, I think it was like 6 in a row or 7 in a row from the sideline. And I'm like,
the Cowboys one at Townsville, the one where he also kicked a field goal? Or am I thinking of a different one?
Possibly. Off the top of my head, I can't really remember the game very well. But the part I do remember is the fact that he kicked so many heaps in a row from the sideline at the same time. And in the same game, it was like 6 in a row or something like that, or 5 in a row. I'm like, this is the dude who's kicking to beat us in a grand final.
Or to level up a grand final.
Yeah, and that again adds another layer of like stress to it, because if we go to Golden Point and then we're going to a field goal shootout, do you think I want to do that against Adam Reynolds?
No one wants to do that against Adam Reynolds.
Like, get absolutely fucked. This is the guy who kicks 40-meter field goals for the fun of it. And then you talk about that bounce field goal. That was stressful enough. Not as stressful as the goal kick, granted, because I think we kick pressure in a grand final, and I think field goals are probably a bit harder to get. So I felt a bit more comfortable at that point for whatever reason, but still, like, we wouldn't have wanted to have been there. And especially knowing his injury, I think coming into the game, his kicking game wasn't as good.
Yeah, for sure.
Like in play like that, like a field goal under pressure is going to be a lot harder for him to do with a groin injury than like if he can take his time, mentally set up for a goal kick. Still, like, but I was really happy with it though. Like, the fact that we're in the year of blowouts and all this, and we've had 4 finals games that all could have been won by either team at the end of the game. So you had Roosters Titans, which went down to that last pass, essentially, where the centre decides not to pass it to both either David Fafita or Corey Thompson on the wing, who's a good finisher in his own right. So and there's no way the winger was stopping Fafita. Then you had us versus Eels, us versus Storm, and us versus South in the grand final. All 3 of them came down to the other team could have won it into that last couple of minutes.
I'd say even the Knights as well, considering with the Knights-Eels game, considering with 5 minutes to go, the Knights was still only behind by 2.
Yeah, I think it was that last try was in the last few minutes from the Eels. So
yeah, penalty try in the second last minute or something, I think it was.
Yeah, like I remember earlier in the year, all the complaints, and it was endless and endless. And the fact that we had such a high quality final series like that, I think deserves a mention. Like, no one's really talking about it, but I think that deserves a mention because that was ridiculous. I loved it. I loved every minute of that final series. And the funny thing was, last year we had the easy road. This year they did it the hard way and actually won it. Like, and I remember saying, I don't know. I didn't think we'd win the Storm game, honestly, because the Storm are the Storm.
Very few people did.
I mean, how many people, and fair enough, but it's like going the hard way actually made them better.
Toughed them out.
Yeah.
Battle hardened.
Yeah, like, and the funny thing was, I should have listened to Greg Bellamy. Who the fuck doesn't? He said it himself before the game we played them about Penrith being battle hardened. And when Craig Bellamy, who's probably the second best coach of all time, behind Bennett, I mean, you could probably switch either of those, to be honest. I don't want to be disrespectful because he's fucking amazing. You could put either of them as the best coach of all time. If he comes out and says something, you probably should listen. And yeah, he said it before our game in his pre-game press conference about Penrith being battle hardened, and it seemed to have worked. Like, it did the trick. Because everyone says that South never really looked in it. Penrith just monstered the absolute crap out of them. Like, when South scored, it was... I remember at the start of the second half, we gave away 2 6-agains and then a penalty, and then they scored. Like, that's how they got their field position. Through Penrith making mistakes. As soon as they got into an arm wrestle, Penrith they won that, and they just won that. And considering, like, you've got, I think Ivan said in the press conference that there was 4 players. If that was a regular round game, they wouldn't have played due to injuries.
Yeah. But it was a grand final.
It was a grand final, so they probably would have. So the medical staff probably weren't game to tell them no, because they would have got murdered.
Yeah, not a good idea to tell some big buff men that you can't play in a grand final.
Like, I dare anyone to tell James Fisher-Harris he can't play in the grand final. I dare them.
The only thing that keeps you out forcefully is a suspension.
Yeah.
Just ask Latrell.
And even then, I'm pretty sure the NRL would be doing it via mail from a distance.
Yeah, because they can expect a nuke to go off.
Like, excuse me, Mr. James Fisher-Harris, sir, we regret to inform you. And please
you have been suspended and you will not be able to play the grand final. Respectfully yours, Andrew Abdo, Peter Volandis. Please don't kill. P.S. Please don't kill us.
Meanwhile, second email goes to New South Wales Premier. Please lock everyone down again. We think he's coming, but yeah. Like Dylan Edwards, I think it was like a month. He had a broken ankle or broken foot. He ran for 200 meters. Like, that kind of statistic is absolutely ridiculous. I'll see if I can find it. What did he exactly do?
Speaking of Latrell, how many more weeks is he? He was suspended for 6 weeks, wasn't he?
I think so. Because he took the guilty plea. I said, yep.
Yeah, so I think he's only got 2 more rounds left to sit out.
Oh, yeah.
Back in round 3.
There you go. 230 meters, Dylan Edwards. He ran 230 meters in a grand final on a broken foot.
That's a mighty achievement.
Stephen Crichton, 207 meters. He ran that on his good looks. Paul Momirovski. Funny enough, Paul Momirovski was 83, our lowest. Burton, 104. And this kind of goes to show, like, our entire backline ran for 80 meters or more. Like, all that back, that back 4, back 5 ran for 80 plus meters each. Brian Toto, again, he was injured. Hey, National Sports Load. Cheers, mate. Yes, it was. As you can see, we're celebrating here. Brian Toto injured.
One of us is celebrating. I'm not going to say I am because I'm not.
He's celebrating on the inside, really deep.
No, not at all.
It's really.
I'm celebrating
really
money. That's all I'm celebrating.
Exactly. See, we won $300, so we are the good guys of the competition.
Yeah, if the Panthers had lost, they would have cost me 200, and I only would have walked away from the comp with 100.
Yeah, Brian Toto, 238 meters. Again, he came back early from surgery, didn't recover properly, all that stuff. Like, so we had both injured backline players run for over 200 meters with busted feet. Like, the mental effort that must go into that is insane. NSL, I think Burton was the second best man out there who can agree. Yeah, a lot of people said they actually thought he could have got the Clive Churchill. What do you think, Aaron?
I agree with Cleary getting it. Like, he suffocated the Rabbits. Almost every single kick that he put up was a kick that put you guys in a good position defensively. Like, especially in the second half, because they didn't score a point in the second half. He suffocated the life out of the Rabbitohs and kicked you guys to victory. But yeah, I definitely player ratings wise, I'd give Cleary like a 9.5, and I'd probably give Burton like a 9.25 or a 9. So yeah, I'd
He was very
definitely
good,
say second best on ground at worst.
especially defensively. The sort of stuff that people like, he scored that try, but the things people don't notice a lot of is defensively he was really good. Like he had that tackle where he took the South winger over the sideline, and you know that side of the field got really shut down. They couldn't really run many plays out there.
And like those first tries from both teams were just really bad defensive lapses from each other.
South it got broken down. I remember watching the post game, and I think it was Andrew Johns who did like his little breakdown. He slowed it down, he sped it up, and did all these little pointing out things. And it was the center had his name just then. I was gonna say it, and then it just disappeared.
Gagai? Or was Gagai the other side?
The other side. Defending next to Reynolds.
Hang on, I'll check for you.
Yeah. Having a senior moment. It's what happens when you get over 30. All downhill.
Yeah, don't tell me that. I am 17 months away from being 30. I don't even want to think about it.
It's coming.
No. Campbell Graham.
Yep, Campbell Graham. There we go. Funny enough, in week 1 of the finals when they beat us, he was amazing. He was like bloody red and green wall stopping Penrith. But on that first try where Burton scored, yeah, I remember Andrew Johns breaking it down. And it was actually him coming in and trying to sort of, I don't know what he was doing, like protecting Reynolds or whatever happened. He didn't trust Reynolds or whatever it was. And he came in and he was essentially almost shoulder to shoulder with Cleary. He steps in and leaves this big gap on his outside, and Burton just runs straight through it. And it's like, oops. Andrew Johns called it a communication issue where the defenders on the inside did their job and he didn't do his. So it's like
he left the winger high and dry.
Basically, yeah. He basically left the winger out there defending everybody, and it's like, oh, thanks, bro. And yeah, you're gonna have a hard time stopping Burton like that. Then the fullback's got no chance. So it was good, but yeah, Burton definitely deserves some raps for that. Like he could have come close, but yeah, I think game managing in a big game like that with a busted shoulder deserves, I think, the Clive Churchill. They're probably 4 or 5 players, and I will include the second best looking player in the entire competition, Cameron Murray, in there. He was probably one of the best on ground. He had, I think it was 51 tackles and 0 missed. In a losing team, he was amazing. And you may ask, why is he the second best looking player in the competition? That's because David Nofaluma was born. I don't make the rules, I just live by them.
You just enforce them.
Yes, I'm just enforcing them. And
the cops of the rugby league, good-looking boys.
Come on, you've seen Noffa when he scores a try and he makes that kind of half serious face, and you're like, oh boy, oof. That's
you've seen my overzealous usage of some of those David Nofaluma gifs on Twitter.
Exactly. I'm pretty sure when he scores a try, women just get pregnant. Just have it.
Yeah, there's no stopping that.
It defies science, but you know, it just happens.
But like Cleary winning the Clive Churchill also backs up the stat that they posted during the week that I think it was like 17 of the last 19 Clive Churchills have all been either a fullback, a halfback, or a 5/8, because and basically because they're the most influential positions on the field.
Yeah, your audio's going funny, by the way.
Hang on, let me just disconnect and reconnect it again.
But yes, to get the point you were getting at, those spine positions pretty much dictate a game. Yeah, and you're talking about NSL's talking about Tape. I wonder how you pronounce that. I haven't actually heard anyone say it. I've only read it, so it's like your mind's trying to like connect to
Yeah.
how it would be.
I'm
But
pretty sure it's literally just Taff. Like Taff.
Okay. Like he's it's funny, he's really good and he handles the pressure and he's great under the high ball. The one thing they were able to do with him was they would set their 10 meters so they weren't offside, them run into them, and then they would just drive him back. And I think that's the one thing that probably Latrell Mitchell would have over him. Whereas Latrell Mitchell has sort of the fitness and everything of an outside back, but he's got that size. He's almost like a prop running into you because he's so big and strong. And I think that's something they would have missed from him big time. Because you go back and watch games with him, he very rarely gets dominated in tackles.
Yeah, and he's good at getting an offload. A fullback that can get a good offload is pretty dangerous.
Like, I remember I was talking to a Roosters fan at work today, and he was talking about Taff, and one thing we kind of agreed on a bit was Taff's got that sort of middle ground reliability where he will sit at that level and he will keep performing at that level constantly. So he won't let you down. He won't mess anything up too bad. But Latrell Mitchell has he has these big highs where he can win you a game on one play. Straight up.
Taff has the reliability. Latrell has the X factor.
Yeah. Whereas Latrell Mitchell can also have a low in him. Like, you look at that game where we beat them, where him and Mansell got absolutely shown up under Cleary's kicking game. So it's actually
the one in Dubbo.
Yeah. And it's like there was one. No, the second game where we came back and we beat them. It was a night game. And,
yeah. 25-12, I think it was.
Yeah, they got out to a lead and then we caught them up, and there was a couple of bombs there, and they just looked completely confused and frustrated, and that's the part where it's going to be interesting next year when Latrell comes back, what they do between. I think I've heard people saying Taft's actually going to be in the halves. I don't know. I don't know the difference it would have made in the grand final. It's interesting.
I don't know what the halves are going to look at the Souths next year.
I mean, Bennett said he suggested they keep Reynolds, but obviously, I guess it's salary cap issues. Not sure. I mean, he wanted 2 years. They offered him 1, and I think they said.
Well, I also think I mentioned it previously that I think the whole deal was they had enough room in the salary cap to keep either Reynolds or Gagai, but they wouldn't be able to keep both. But now they've ended up going and losing both. Because Gagai's off to the Knights now.
Congrats, guys. You've got one gone to the Broncos and one's gone to the Knights. I don't know.
They might still have Benji. No one knows about that yet.
He seems to have, from what I can tell, has hinted that he's going to retire. There is a headline. Let's see if we can find it.
I was on his post that he put up on Facebook.
South Sydney. There's a headline here. Oh, here we go. 7 News on Twitter. Man, whip it up. Yes, it's on Channel 7's Twitter. Oh, pardon me. And they basically says, Why is I hate technology? Just put it out there. Whoever invented technology banned.
From using technology. That's what everyone does nowadays, is uses technology.
Yeah. All right, so I put that up. So, 7 News understands that Benji Marshall has told his Rabbitohs teammates that he's retiring. An official announcement is expected this week. And this was put up 10:27 p.m. October 3rd. It was yesterday.
2 days ago. Sunday.
2 days ago. Sunday. Whatever. But yeah, something like that. I mean, date is that. Again, technology. So yeah. So it looks like he's destined to retire. Which honestly, I think he should. He's got nothing to be ashamed of. He went there and had a good year at the Rabbitohs. I mean, what's he got left to offer someone? I mean,
A lot of saying he could benefit the Titans by going up there for a year.
Do you think so? Do you think that holds up?
Who are their halves going to be next year?
Well, they've got
Because they
let
they buggered off
Fogarty
Ash Taylor, didn't they?
and Taylor are the ones they let go. Yeah,
So they've got Sexton.
they got Sexton and
They got that other young guy who debuted against the Dragons, whose name I can't remember. Hang on, let me find
I'll look them up.
Late in the season debut against the Dragons. I don't know what round it was.
They had some late changes, so it's like Toby Sexton, Arne Boyd.
Oh, Tanner Boyd. Yeah.
Tanner Boyd. So it looks like they're going to be the halves. Jamal Fogarty's still on their website, but I thought he was going to let the Raiders. Or am I missing something?
Hang on, I'm still trying to find what I was thinking of. They had another young guy. I'm trying to remember the name of the other young guy.
I'm looking at their teams here.
Let me.
Because they've got Jaden Campbell, obviously, and AJ Brimson. So you've got
Campbell's like a backup fullback to Brimson.
Yeah, but there's no way he's not in the starting 17 next year after the way he's played this year.
Oh, absolutely.
So you've got Brimson and Campbell who both have to fit on the field somewhere.
Maybe. I'm determined to find this other kid that I'm thinking of.
Yeah.
Let me 2021 all teams Titans. There we go. Here it is, round 19. Super Stadium Dragons home game. Or maybe that was Sexton. Maybe it was Sexton was the one I was thinking about.
It has to be.
Getting myself all mixed up here.
Because I've got so I'll put it up on screen. I've got their
Yeah, it
their
was
teams
Sexton.
up here. You've got Tanner Boyd, Toby Sexton. They're listed as halfbacks on the website. And you've got Jaden Campbell and AJ Brimson as the fullbacks. That's their spines. And Jamal Fogarty and Ash Taylor are there, but I thought they were both leaving. I'm losing my mind. I thought Fogarty was going to the Raiders.
Hang on, I'll bring up Zero Tackles player movements, and we'll see which Titans are leaving and who's coming. Zero Tackle's good for some things.
Yeah, they do all right sometimes.
Uh, 2021 player movements. Here we go. Okay, so the Titans 2022 losses are Don, who's
He
retired.
retired.
Peachy, Jonas Pearson, Mitch Rain, all been released, same as Ash Taylor. Sam Stone and Jai Whitbread have both gone over to the Super League.
But no word on already.
They still have Tanner Boyd, Darius Farmer, and Sam McIntyre off contract.
Interesting.
They've gained Aaron Booth from the Storm, Shalyn Fuller, Isaac Liu from the Roosters, and Paul Turner from the Warriors. I know nothing about Shalyn Fuller. Let me bring up. He's apparently a halfback. And Paul Turner is apparently also a halfback. So they brought in 2 halfbacks, seemingly. Paul Turner is currently 21, and Shalyn Fuller doesn't have a profile, so I don't know.
Yeah. I think their spine will be some combination of Tanner Boyd,
Booth from the Storm is here as a hooker.
I don't know. See how they go. They'll be decent though. They got a good forward pack, so see how they go.
Yeah.
They don't need to be overcomplicated. Just get some decent halves behind who can play some kind of football.
So based on that, maybe Benji would be good for them next year, especially if they're going to have a young halves pairing.
Yeah, I mean, if he played off the bench like he did with the Rabbitohs, I mean, they really can just judge it week to week on how his body's going. I mean, yeah, he's getting a bit older, but you can manage him through a season with, even if he just plays 10 or 15 minutes a game, like, it wouldn't actually be that hard on the body, really. It's just up to whether he wants to do the preseason mostly. That's where the hard work. That's where the big hard work is. Well, maybe it was Slater a couple of years ago when he retired. I think it was. So. I might be remembering it wrong, but I think he was saying when you retire, the thing that comes across your mind is that preseason. That's really whether when you retire, the thing you consider is whether you can put yourself through that really hard preseason effort and work and training.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if Benji is willing to go through that one more time, a team like the
Titans, all power to him.
Yeah, and the Titans aren't the only ones. The Bulldogs. There's probably a couple of teams with younger halves that could use a guy like him. Really, I mean, that would benefit from his experience. So, I mean, that's up to him, I guess. I mean, he's seen a lot now. I mean, he's seen a lot now and experienced a lot. So it's not as though he doesn't have something to offer.
But yeah, if he wanted to, he could probably get a lot out of it.
I mean, and do you look at even how he played at the Rabbitohs because he wasn't having to be a main playmaker? Like, a lot of people are like, look at, I guess let him go. But he wasn't playing the greatest when he was at the Tigers. Like, yeah, he was good for some points, but defensively he was also a bit, how you going?
He was very much a defensive liability.
I was trying to be nice. I was trying to be kind. But yes, Tigers fans.
I love the man, but I've got to be honest.
You've got to be like, he was like the turnstiles at the ticket gate at the front, but
all too easy.
But you give him those few minutes off the bench, he doesn't really have to shoulder too much burden. So yeah, I don't know. I kind of thought it was a good thing the Tigers, since we're there. I actually thought it was the smart decision.
We needed to let him go to focus on the future.
I mean, it's
it didn't work out well this year, but we are looking better for the years. But like, if 2023 onward,
if the idea is to build a sustainable future, compared to yes, we need to make the 8 right this second, you need to be letting guys like that go. It has to happen. It might emotionally feel a bit shit, but it has to happen.
Yep.
But like, you look at us, we let guys like Regan Campbell-Gillard and Wonga Blake and that go, who were here with us in the Anthony Griffin era, and we were playing finals. Now, emotionally, when you look at it, you're like, oh man, kind of wouldn't want those guys to go. We really like those guys. But in the end, it fixed our salary cap, and we just made 2 grand finals and won one of them.
Mhm.
I mean, clubs have to make these decisions, and Madge is clearly trying his best to do something. And as I said, like, you want long-term sustainability. You don't want to have one good year and then drop out again because you're just back where you started.
And like I said to you when the whole Madge debacle was going on and he was being plastered and destroyed in the media
That was pathetic.
every 30 seconds or so. Like, yeah, a lot of the argument has been crap ladder positions and they've gotten worse. Yeah, his first year we came 9th, his second year we came 11th, and his third year we came 13th. But you look at how well we've done, not just off the field this year, but in the lower grades. The sustainability and the setup for success is there. Like our reserve grade team, before the comp was shut down, they were third, and they had only just dropped down from third underneath Parramatta.
Yeah.
Our Jersey Flag team were undefeated
All right. See you
with something like
National
7
Sports
wins.
Floaters just said he's going to go.
Oh yeah, see you, NSL.
See you, buddy. Where everyone else is. Oh well. Hopefully they show up. We will go back to Sundays, but like this Sunday we didn't do it because it would have been nice to be able to do a post grand final stream on the Sunday, but it starts so late.
And you were too stressed beforehand.
And like, yeah, I enjoyed spending the day with the wife and the kids and everything, build up to the game. It would have been nice if you had like a 5:30 kickoff.
We could have done like an 8 p.m. stream
like,
after the presentation and shit.
Like, I get to work on Monday, and like, I know I guess a lot of people have the public holiday, but I have to work on Monday, and I'm like, my eyes hanging in my head, and I'm like so tired, and it's so annoying. Then we come on stream on Tuesday, and everyone's like, "Oh, it's Tuesday." I'm like, well, you're gonna have to deal with it because it's it is what it is. But we will get back to Sundays. Quite determined.
Congratulated by a lot of workmates, were you?
Oh, everyone's like, "Oh my god!" And it's funny because I have ones I know of. I've got an Eels fan, a Roosters fan. There was another Roosters fan, but Paul's got rid of the meat department, so he's gone. But he was really good.
2 clubs that are 2 of your biggest rivals as well.
Yeah, we had a lot of our rivals, and a Newcastle fan, who's really good guy.
Not as big a rival.
No, but good guy. Yeah, he's a really nice guy. I really like him. He's really cool.
No Bunnies fans? The week leading up to the grand final would have been fun if you had a Bunnies fan there.
Not that I'm aware of, at least. Not that I'm aware of, which is surprising because there's at least one Bunnies fan everywhere, usually. Like the random South fan meme thing isn't a thing for no reason. Like there's always a Bunnies fan at least somewhere.
Oh, exactly.
But the week before, I got a lot of South merchandise coming through the store, like on customers, like hats and stuff like that. You can usually tell. Most people have hats. They're the big one. NRL hats are the thing that seem to float around a lot. I don't know why everyone likes to buy a hat, I guess.
I also like seeing the NRL masks around the place.
I like, considering how many people come through, I've never seen an NRL mask come through the store yet.
I've seen a few.
Oh.
Yeah, so just quickly, as I was saying, our Jersey Flag team, undefeated, 8 wins, 9 draws.
Because wasn't your reserve grade team? I feel old calling it reserve grade. It's the bloody Canterbury Cup nowadays.
Knock-on effect. They changed the naming rights again this year.
Again. I guess it goes with sponsorship, but weren't they undefeated until they played a team we won't mention?
No, okay, so we lost the first 2, but then we went on a winning run before losing your team.
Okay, I thought they were undefeated.
No, we lost the first 2.
That's disappointing for multiple reasons. 1, because I thought we'd beat you guys after you're undefeated, and 2, I was actually just quite happy that you guys were undefeated and going, well, here we go. I'm living in fucking fantasy land. I'm like, woo, at least Tigers have got something.
In saying that, we still only ended up finishing with 4 losses. And after those first 2, those other 2 losses were to you guys and the Eels.
Yeah. But see, at least you're right though. Like, there's something there to build on, and with all the talk of Madge and like they're bringing in Sheens, it's Sheens and Kamali are the big ones they're bringing in.
Yeah, definitely.
Like,
and hopefully getting Robbie back in the blue shirt next year as well, because while we had him, we were doing pretty good.
So you've got a pretty decent staff, and you've got decent younger grades coming through. Like, you've got things there in place, and this is why I said Madge shouldn't be sacked. Like, it's fucking
Our defensive
ridiculous.
coach got the sack for very obvious reasons.
Yeah, that was coming. Like, I would have come and helped them with that if they wanted. Like, that was fucking ridiculous. The fact that, because I think I remember I said it on stream, Madge is a very aggressive sort of put your front foot forward kind of guy. Like, he's a push forward kind of personality. And the Tigers' defense is very passive. All year, there was only a couple of games, and the games they played well, they were very aggressive in defense. And I was like, oh, that's Madge there. That's Madge's personality you can see in the team coming out. But most of the year when they're playing like crap, they were very passive, and they would give, not only they weren't even waiting for the attack to come to them, they were giving extra meters. They were backpedaling, and I'm like, there is no way Madge is not telling him to do that. That is not a thing that he's saying. He's not telling them to.
And you could see it in the scenes through Tiger Town, where you could see him in the box.
Yeah,
like he was getting the right messages out there. They just weren't being followed most of the time.
Like, he was
the very few times they did, we had some pretty good wins.
Yeah,
the one against you guys, which I'm going to continue to rub in until the end of time.
Well, you beat the 2021 premiers in 2021.
Yeah, only 4 teams did that.
Just putting it out there. Last year, everyone said because we didn't lose a game and didn't have that adversity that we lost the grand final. Our first loss this year was against the Tigers. I'm just saying, maybe, just maybe,
the Tigers broke and then simultaneously fixed the Panthers.
The Tigers,
you owe us, boy. Give us the fucking trophy.
The Tigers might be responsible for this premiership. Just saying.
Give us the fucking trophy. You owe us.
But this is what it's come to. You know, the entire NRL era, the Storm and the Roosters have dominated everything. I think this is what it's come to. We've had to all band together to defeat these, you know,
powerhouses,
tyrannical powerhouses of rugby league, who have been, you know,
cheating powerhouses.
Exactly, the oppressive forces of the Melbourne Storm. We've had to band together to defeat them. This is what Western Sydney has to resort to win premierships.
Like this year, or last year, you lost to one team, or 2 teams. That was, one of them was in the grand final.
Yes, Eels and Storm.
This year, you lost to 4 teams.
We drew against the Knights. That was a draw. It's not a loss. It doesn't count.
Exactly. That's why I didn't say the Knights. That's why I didn't include the Knights.
But credit to them. Was it Kurt Mann? They had like 3 injured players, and I got to give him credit. He played like a future immortal in that game. I've never seen
that was like. They also had a dummy half on debut who went into the game a lot earlier than was expected and played out like 87 minutes.
So credit to them. They fucking really did it. And then fucking Matt Burton to miss. I think it was 187 field goals in a row he missed. But like, and you look at how he's come back mentally, it didn't phase him. Like, and that's probably the good thing for the Dogs, since I'm really.
So now you've lost him to the Dogs.
But like, the Dogs must be so happy about that. Like, this is a kid who's mentally strong. Like, he's coming off a grand final win. Like, you've got a player coming to your club who's coming off a grand final win. Yeah, and he's going to be hungry to do it all over again. And he's got the experience. He's got that big game experience. And he was desperate to be a starting half. He wanted to be a starting half. That's why he went there. He could have stayed, but he wanted to play 5'8". So I think I know a lot of Dogs fans are like, I've seen a few comments because I'm on their board, on their little forum thing, and there have been some comments where they're like, oh, he's going to lose that hunger. And I don't think he will. I think he's going to be
No.
more hungry now because he wanted that position, so he's going to get to play in the position. I think he's going to want to win a grand final as a half.
And very few players have had the honour of winning a grand final, going to a new club the following year, and winning another one.
And on top of that,
Cooper Cronk did it.
Yeah, and on top of that, taking a bottom 4 team to finals. Like, if you go, I'm premiership winner, I came across and I took this really crappy team that had their run thinks of shit. No offense to the Dogs. What can you do? They were a powerhouse. Now everyone thinks you're crap. If he can come across and improve that team to the point where they play finals, you imagine his reputation in the game after that?
He will be a future immortal.
Like, his future contracts, he will be able to literally, they will be handing him blank checks and saying, you just write, just you put your number down.
However much you want from us, we'll fucking give it to you.
Do you want your own country? We will buy you one. Have it.
We'll buy you a planet in the solar system.
Yeah. We bought you the sun. It is yours now. You can now charge everybody for their solar. Congrats. Like, because that's how it would be. Like, I can't see there being any lack of motivation from a guy like him. And he's young too. He's got his whole career is ahead of him now. Now, I've got to take a toilet break.
Trying.
These damn drinks are going right through me. But yes, I shall be right back. Aaron will either entertain you or he'll leave you in darkness.
Bit hard to entertain a non-existent crowd.
Yeah, exactly. But what can you do? Hey, at least it's there. I'll be right back.
If there were people here, I would maybe do a poll. Like, is Benji going to retire? Or is he going to play on? Could also ask about some of the other things in the news. Have a moment where we're not talking about the Panthers winning a premiership.
I have returned, prodigal son.
Tooting your own horn there much?
I'm in a good mood this week for obvious reasons.
I wonder why. I don't think I'll ever work it out.
No, it's a mystery.
You didn't miss much, by the way. I said like 2 things. Go back and listen to it.
I'll definitely
Listen to it later. If you want to catch the moment where I was a smart ass.
I'm definitely going to check that out. But like clubs like us, we don't win very often. Like 18 years for us, 16 for you
16
guys.
for us, yeah.
We
17 for the Dogs.
When we win it, we're like, holy crap, did that really happen? You have the moment of disbelief and the excitement. It's like, it's insane. Like,
but at least you play finals more often than we do.
That's a more recent thing. Like, even then, I guess we have, but what can you do, I guess? But even then, even when we were making finals, I don't think we were too much of a chance of actually winning it. Now we're actually a top team, like a genuine premiership team. And that hasn't happened for a long time.
And not only that, but you won a premiership in a different way to the way that the Roosters and the Storm have gone about it. Especially the Roosters in particular, like buying players from other clubs who they know can win them a premiership, and all those under the table deals and all that crap we constantly talk about. Like you guys, thanks to Gus, I think Gus needs to take a lot of credit for getting you to this point.
I hope he feels good about it. He deserves to. He put work into it too. And a lot of people don't realize it was him and Ivan that started it. And some other people at the club too. But
a bit longer than 5 years ago.
Yeah. Look, sometimes 5-year plans go for
10 years. Almost.
These things happen, okay? You can't put a time limit on these things.
Well, Gus did.
Well, it's funny. The funniest part is his actual quote was, it would take half a decade to fix up some of the behind the scenes stuff like financials and junior pathways and whatnot. And what happened was the media, as they like to do, took that and turned it into the 5-year plan Penrith will win a premiership. When really all Gus was saying was it would take about that much time to fix some of the stuff behind the scenes, like I said, financials and junior pathways and all that sort of stuff, which he did. And then within that 5 years, we had all that set up, sorted, and then that turned into what we see now.
And the juniors is where this premiership is where this has come from. Like all these players that grew up together, playing junior grades with each other. And now they've just gone out there on the biggest stage and won.
Exactly. So, the 5-year plan was a bit of a myth brought about by the media. But, me, myself, like when people make jokes about the club, like I like enjoying them. I prefer to get involved in them and enjoy them because that's part of the game. Every club has them. So there's no point sitting there complaining about it and whinging and whining and moaning about it. You might as well have fun with it. Like one of the big ones that comes out about us is booing. Apparently we're known for booing amongst rugby league fans. So now I've turned it into this thing where, that's actually our native language.
Go back and watch the second time you played us last year. There was a lot of booing in that game. That one that I told you had the incident that made me really not like the way.
Yeah.
It's in that game. Like you guys boo your fans booed Tigers almost every time they touched the ball.
Well,
so
there's this weird thing where now NRL fans have started booing injury stoppages. And I've started noticing it more and more across the game just in general. And I'm like, oh, it might be because the diving thing started having more, I guess. So fans can't tell now when it's real injury and not. So they're starting to get frustrated, I guess.
Yeah, especially when it's done strategically, like your trainer did in the Eagles game.
Yeah, like that. But that sort of stuff's happening all over the place. It's just people have targeted us specifically for whatever reason. But that happens constantly. It happened in the grand final. South waited until we were attacking their line to stop the game.
Yeah.
It happens. I'm not saying it's a good thing, but, you know, and I think fans are getting rightly frustrated from it. But we've got this thing now where we're known for booing. So I turned it into a thing where, yeah, no, we're not booing because it's bad. That's just our native language. We're actually saying nice things. What are you talking about? It's like, yeah, you might
You're
as well
not saying boo, you're saying boo earns.
yeah, boo earns. I was saying boo earns. But like, oh yeah, it's funny. So now I do have. This is something that I don't know why. I feel like I genuinely need to address this one as a Panthers fan. And I'm going to screen share it. So you should see it through Discord. It's where Tyrone May felt the need to address certain things after the grand final win. I'm assuming he was all hyped up on the hype of winning the grand final, and they'll probably having drinks and doing whatever their thing.
He wanted to get a little one back at the media.
And he says, and the dirt they threw on my name turned to soil, and I grew up out it. Time for y'all to figure out what y'all gone do about it. Love my brothers. Now it's apparently song lyrics. I don't know them myself.
I think it was mentioned in one of the comments.
Yeah.
Let me bring the comments up on my phone and try and find it. What was his username? Tyrone.may.
It's Tyrone.may. The song lyrics, but he's attached it to the photo of when he was going through his court stuff. But the thing is, it's not dirt on your name. You did the wrong thing. Now, I love the club, and yes, we all criticize players when they have a bad game or when we think they've got faults or whatever, but he's he's one of those few that I'll say that, like, I would be more than happy if the club released him. And this here kind of shows that he doesn't see he did anything wrong at that time.
And what he did.
Yeah. Like, he pled guilty, he was found guilty. Like, the court process went through. This is where, like, you have the opportunity, especially at a club like Penrith, which is the junior development club. And they have the policy of, I remember Gus talking about it, where, like, you know, you've got to get an education outside of football to be able to play football. Like, they obviously care about the person you are outside of football. So he's in a good environment to move on from that. Like, I am probably the biggest advocate for everyone deserves a second chance. I've had my own before in life in different scenarios, whether it's with family or whatever, different scenarios. I'm not going to go into it. But I've had a pretty big one myself.
It is deeply concerning, though, reading through a lot of these comments that are supporting him.
Yeah. Now,
knowing what he did.
I think I've read through some of the comments. It's days ago, so there might be new ones. But the teammate ones, I suspect what's happened is they've taken it as he's talking about internet trolls on social media. And you know how the media criticize, like, example, Paul Kent, their done thing?
Yeah.
I think the players have taken it as he's talking about that. At least there's the chance that that's the case.
I mean, that would make sense, but in saying that, like you said, it's a pretty poor choice of photo.
Yeah. So, because if you look at that, there's actually multiple photos on it. I don't know if you're on the Instagram thing, you can flick across, there's multiple photos.
Yeah.
So I think he's talking about the court thing, and there's a good chance the players have taken it as something else, especially because the Paul Kent thing, for example, is so much more recent, and we don't know the private messages players get as well on social media.
Only the ones that are shared.
Yeah, they're pretty. Apparently, they get a lot.
The racist ones.
Yeah, apparently they get a lot. So I'm not worried about what the players have said in the replies, because they could have the wrong idea and we don't know until we ask them. No one's taken the time to say, hey, you know, what what did you think you were responding to, and all the questions that should be asked. The club, that's something for the club to do behind closed doors anyway. But I think Tyrone May, specifically, the fact that he chose to use that picture with those words is something entirely different. Like, that's not dirt on your name when you do the wrong thing. Like, I've done the wrong thing before. Everybody's done the wrong thing in some way or another.
You got to own up to it.
You've got to own that and move on. Like, you look at Matt Lodge. He's probably one of the worst examples in rugby league of behaviour, just in general. But he came back, and the NRL gave him a big list of things to check off before he was allowed to play. He met all those, and then he went and he became, I guess, is ambassador the right word? I don't know. And he mentored young blokes who were heading down the bad path, if that makes sense.
Yep.
And he used himself as the example of that duality of the right and wrong things to do. So you can either be the bad guy who breaks the law and, I guess, is heading to jail, or you can make good choices. And look at him now. He's a football player making big money. And it's a case of, what do you want to do? Do you want to be the bad lodge or the good lodge, essentially, you know?
Exactly.
In this case, it's like, what's that old saying where they said, oh, you've got two wolves inside you, that old saying, you know? And the one that
I've heard that one.
There is one. I'll pull up the quote. It's called The Wolf You Feed. I think maybe it's a Native American one. I'm not sure. I don't know the history. That page isn't loading. Cool. Congrats. It's called The Wolf You Feed. If Wikipedia tells me instead. Okay. Story of Two Wolves is a popular legend of unknown origin, sometimes attributed to the Cherokee or Lenape people. The legend also known as Which One You Feed. Grandfather tells the wolves within, and Tale of Two Wolves is blah blah blah. So it's basically, where is it? We can find the actual history of it. Find the actual damn quote. Cool. Having to flick through Google because the Wikipedia thing gave us the history on it. Alright, so it says, an old Cherokee is teaching his grandson about life. A fight is going on inside me, he said to the boy. It is a terrible fight, and it's between two wolves. One is evil, his anger, envy, sorrow, greed, arrogance, self-pity, guilt, resentment, inferiority, lies. The other is good. He is joy, peace, love, serenity, humility, kindness, benevolence, empathy, generosity, truth, compassion, and faith. The same fight is going inside you and inside every other person too. The grandson thought about it for a minute and then asked grandfather, which wolf will win? The old Cherokee simply replied, the one you feed. And that's kind of like, it's a bit of a roundabout way to get to it because Google sucks, I guess. But it's kind of how I see Matt Lodge. He's a good example of that. That's him. Like, you can look at the bad lodge or the good lodge, and he kind of learnt from his lesson, and he got his career, and he did his thing, and tried to change and make those right steps. And Tyrone May, for all intents and purposes, I guess we could have assumed he was doing that, but this completely undercuts all that. Now, as far as the public is concerned, whether he means it or not, they are going to assume he has learned nothing, and he thinks this almost paints him as a victim. Like, you know,
Yeah, like
like saying that
that's where I think most people have gotten up in arms about his teammates and some ex-teammates and stuff supporting him.
Yeah,
Is
like
because it's making him look like he was the victim when he was the
yeah,
perpetrator.
like I would be not so quick to jump on the teammates, but because that could be easily misconstrued, especially while they're all partying after a grand final.
And probably more than a little bit intoxicated.
Yeah, because if I was them, my first thought would be internet trolls and the media. So fair enough, but like I can't think of any way that his can be misconstrued. Like the dirt they threw on my name, it's not dirt thrown on your name when you did the wrong thing and are found guilty. When you pled guilty, you know, at this point, like I said, as a Panthers fan,
You lose all ability to claim victimhood when you claim guilt.
yeah, like as a Panthers fan, I'm just like, no, sorry, buddy, you've got no sympathy from me. I don't give two shits. Like, fuck off. And it's funny, you know, the funniest part is he wants to carry on like this, right? This is a guy who's essentially been a liability all year when he's played. Our worst games of the year when he played at half. Then he plays for, I think he got 15 minutes in the grand final at most. His most notable play of the game was an error where he knocked on the most basic casual ball of all time. And then he wants to stand on the shoulders of his own teammates who sacrificed, like Dylan Edwards and all these guys who played injured. His teammates won him a grand final and he wants to stand on their shoulders like this.
I think I ended up sending it to you on. We were talking during the week and joking around about how he might be the second player in 2 years to win a grand final without even entering the field. And I wasn't too far off him not entering the field. I think he only played like less than 15 minutes.
Yeah.
What's
Like,
that down there?
hey.
What was that? What's that down there circled in that picture?
Oh, do we want to show? Oh, I can show this. Basically, there's this weird conspiracy theory going on. Everybody, I present you Nathan Cleary with the Premiership trophy, and there's a phone on the side. Picture's not that clear, but it looks like little white marks on the phone there. I remember the Storm Boys and their white powder.
Little white powder, yeah.
Basically, as far as we know, it's the you know how you get the screen protectors on the phones.
Yeah, a little bit of glare from it, maybe.
Yeah, it's just like whatever that is.
The rising sun behind them.
Like it's not there. It's a bit of a conspiracy theory going on that the boys were on the white powders, taking inspiration from the Storm Boys, I guess. I don't know. Well, they said be like the Storm. I mean, what they do. Not our fault. It's their fault. We're a bad influence. But bit of conspiracy theory. But no, as far as Tyron May goes, no, I don't, fuck him. He's sitting on the shoulders of his teammates who won him a grand final. He should be appreciative, not using that to brag about how he's a victim of his own criminal history. And that's what pisses me off more about it, because he didn't do much to contribute to that game. His really main contribution was a freaking error. His own teammates worked their asses off, won that game. Yeah, see, there's a closer view of it. I'll show it.
Yeah, I can see it.
So you can see here.
Next to a speaker.
Yeah, there's like a speaker there, which the phone must be hooked up so they can listen to music while they're chilling out on the beach at sunrise after probably an entire night.
Still in their kit.
And you can see it's like a screen protector that's like bubbled up or whatever. Like, credit to them, they're still wearing their jerseys. Like, credit to them for living that Panther life. So yeah, that's a really weird thing that's sort of come up lately.
I'm now going through all the times where this post was mentioned on Twitter because I know I saw the song that it's lyrics for mentioned somewhere.
I've seen it. Someone said Drake lyrics. I don't listen to him. He's obviously an artist, whatever. I don't know him personally.
How is our good buddy Josh Robbo after the win?
Honestly, he's been really good for a couple of weeks. I don't know. He obviously,
Probably being a winner is helping.
but I think it was more all the criticism he got. You know,
Just for the way he carried on like a pork chop after the Tigers beat them.
So it's probably just a case of, it's like a crossroads moment, I guess, when you have people pile on you, and I've had it happen before. I had it happen on Reddit when I did the bloody virtual comp. A lot of criticism, you have to step away for a moment, and you've got to see, right, well, how am I going to progress from this moment? And I think he came away from that like, you know what, I'm going to try and do a little bit differently and improve myself and be a bit different and not so whatever, because he's been great the last few weeks. I've seen a lot of his tweets. He's, where people I follow might like his tweets or retweet them or whatever, and he's been fantastic. So I think we're seeing a really good sort of guy here. It's funny enough, it's like the anti-Tyrone May. It's it's kind of crazy. Like, it's,
Just saying, Dave Riccio. Dave Riccio on Twitter has said NRL targeting last week of October for the release of the draw. So I guess they're trying to get on top of that nice and early.
Yeah.
Jeez, I know I saw this somewhere, but I can't find it for the life of me. Now, this is going to annoy me all night till I find it.
Yeah. The worst part about these players, like, I feel so old. Like, I sit there and I listen to like AC/DC and stuff, and they're all like listening to all this new shit, and I'm like, man, I feel so old.
I'm starting to feel older every year now that more players are younger than me than older than me.
You wait until you can say you've seen legends of the game debut and retire. I saw live Cameron Smith debut, and then I saw him live retire as a legend of the game. Amazing. And the most capped player at like 400 million games at the age of 386. Wait till you can say that, and then you feel really fucking old.
No thanks.
Because he debuted 2003. I was a teenager.
So your Benji debut?
Actually, yeah, they were around the same time. I saw both of them debut and retire. How old do you think?
Well, Benji hasn't retired yet.
Not officially, but that seems to be the way it's going. I mean, he might not, but even if he does another year, I'm still going to watch him retire unless I die. But before then, like
Robbie as well. I think he was 03 or 04.
Like, all these guys, I've seen their entire careers in my life, and I was old enough to remember it too. Like, it's ridiculous. That makes you feel old.
Yeah, I'd rather not feel that old just yet.
It'll happen. It'll happen. You wait till Nathan Cleary's retiring at like the age of 50 with like 20 Clive Churchill medals, a bunch of Dally M's, named 3-time immortal. You're like, man.
Just as long as Tyrone May doesn't get any of those accolades, I'll be fine.
Fucking like I said, like I sound harsh saying it. I've never really said it about too many players, but I would actively wouldn't mind. Like I would actively enjoy if they got rid of him. Yeah, absolutely fucked. Tyrone May.
Yeah, and don't come to the Tigers either. We're trying to build a culture over here.
We need to fix the club, not drag it down further.
Precisely.
But like, it's not even that he had some things go wrong and happen and bad stuff, like whatever. He could have just, like, it's about learning from the shit. Like, we all have things go wrong. We all deserve a second chance at times. So take your second chance and make the most of it. Don't try
Not to be an absolute flog.
Yeah, don't use the grand final win that your teammates won for you. You did fuck all to earn that. I don't give a shit what anyone says and how much he's mates with fucking Nathan Cleary and the other teammates. He can get absolutely stuffed. He did fuck all to contribute to that grand final win. His teammates won that for him, and then he stood on their shoulders to use that to brag. Get absolutely fucked.
Like, for real, how much time? I think I said he played like 14 or 15 minutes. What are the rest of his stats from the grand final? Probably fuck all.
Yeah, I'm going to look it up now. Let's have a look at Tyrone May's grand
final winning
performance. Statistically speaking.
And just how much his teammates carried him.
So what everyone's seeing on stream right now is NRL.com player stats. Let's find Tyrone May Jizzle. Tyrone May, 13 minutes. Epic
I wasn't
performance.
far off.
Yeah, well, you know, players like
top of the pops right there. 13 minutes of absolute perfection, eh?
Yeah, I mean, you know, players like Dylan Edwards, who played 80 minutes and 230 meters with a broken foot, should kind of feel ashamed at this point.
Oh, absolutely. Like, you've done nothing compared to the great almighty Tyrone May.
Let's see, where are we at? All runs. 5.
Boggles the mind, doesn't it?
He had 5 runs. I can't believe it. At 28 run meters. Blowing my mind.
Jeez, that is a masterful grand final.
I want to know how he didn't get the Clive Churchill just on those stats alone.
Player of the match for 5 runs. Absolutely.
Player of the season, if not.
Hook that into my veins. But where's his Dally M medal after a 5 run in the grand final performance?
Remember Turbo beating 17 players to score that one try that time? Nothing on this.
You're talking about the Cowboys one?
Yep.
The try that got me the perfect, or the exact margin in that game.
Yeah. Like, I'm surprised Turbo isn't actually just nailing his Dally M right now.
Oh, yeah, absolutely not. Turbo does not deserve it compared to that masterful performance.
Post-contact meters? And this is the one I'll share the screen because you have to see this for yourself. This is, you won't even believe it. 6 post-contact meters.
Oh my gosh. That is orgasmic. That is an orgasmic performance.
See, most forwards wish they could run for that many post-contact meters. I mean, Isaiah Yeo, he only had,
forward.
Yeah, Isaiah Yeo only had 62.
Well, that's nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing at all.
Dylan Edwards and his broken foot, he only had 51.
Oh, screw having a broken foot. That's nothing.
Yeah.
No excuses.
Soft. Tyrone May is your leader.
He's the overlord of the Penrith Panthers grand final winning performance.
I would go so far as to say I don't think we could have won without Tyrone May. I mean, 3 hit-ups.
He absolutely carried your team.
How do you win the grand final without those 3 hit-ups? Now, yes.
We were wrong. Nathan Cleary clearly didn't carry your team. Tyrone May did.
I mean,
on his
pin-perfect,
expertly broad shoulders.
Pin-perfect kicking game in the most high-pressure game of the entire season is nothing compared to those 3 hit-ups. That were very important hit-ups.
Nah, don't worry. Filming a woman without her consent is going to trump it every time.
And he was so selfless, he had 0 offloads. Just want to point that out.
Oh, absolutely. Like, team player right there.
Like, this is what I'm saying. Like, none of that would be an issue. Like, with all the sarcasm in the world, none of that would actually be an issue. Playing as a utility off the bench.
No.
Because you're not going to get the minutes. You're not going to have the stats. You're not, that's fine. I understand. Right? A utility is just going to come on, help out a bit, do what he can do.
Do his thing.
I mean, in 13 minutes, you're not going to be, solving world hunger or curing cancer. That's fine.
Yeah, you're not going to be an absolute world beater.
No, but to use that, but then, like as I said before, you're standing on the shoulders of your own teammates to brag about your fucking court case and drag the club down. Because now everyone's talking about it. It's all over Twitter. There's been at least one article in one of the big newspapers, can't remember which one it was now, who reported it, and it's going to grow over the next couple of days now. This is how it works, because we live in the age of social media and 24-hour news cycles. It's going to grow. So instead of us sitting here celebrating this amazing grand final win, an amazing effort, it's going to become more and more about Tyrone Mate and his fucking bullshit. Because
stupid, unnecessary comment.
Because he felt fucking big and awesome about a grand final win that he didn't contribute to.
All hard done by.
Like, no one
from something he pled guilty to.
Like, no one threw dirt on your name. You threw dirt on your own name by being a fucking idiot. Like,
and then also pleading and then being found guilty.
Yeah. Like, and now Penrith fans have to sit here and go, oh, fuck. No. We don't sympathize with that.
Like, fans who, rightly so, should be celebrating a grand final win now have to feel disgusted by one of their players.
Yeah, we have to sit here justifying ourselves and saying, no, we don't support that. It's okay. Instead of sitting here doing what we're hoping to do and just have some drinks and celebrate and enjoy, and there you go. Like, fucking what?
Yeah, that's not the way to do things. Like, not even close.
You know, we should be talking about things like, Stephen Crichton, the intercept. You know, the funny thing is, a fan, like a kid, wanted like a picture or autograph or whatever. Yeah, he took his boots over and gave them to the kid.
Yep. I did see that post.
Yeah. Like, he's going to be able to say, these are the boots that won the grand final. Like, imagine that kid and how happy he is. And instead of talking about that, we're talking about fucking Tyrone fucking May. Like, and yeah, it riles me up a bit. It actually really pisses me off because he's using the occasion to pump himself up, puff his chest out and be like, yeah, how good am I? No, you're a fucking
inflate his own ego a little bit more.
Yeah, exactly. He's using it to inflate his own ego. And it's like, no, get fucked, you idiot. You've just fucked yourself over. You've made yourself look stupid. You've made your teammates look stupid. And you made the club look stupid. And the fans look stupid. Because it reflects on everybody. Whether they like it or not, they're not the only ones involved. They're not individuals at that point. It reflects on us. It reflects on the club. The board. Their teammates. Everybody is involved now. But yeah, that's why I felt the need to comment on it, because it's like, it's just one of those really
not a good look.
Stupid things. And since we're talking about things that aren't good looks, let's see if I can. Oh. Yeah, I had to adjust the volume. I've got a thing on my. What a fancy keyboard. And it's got volume controls on it. Who thought that was a good idea? Where are we?
You get notifications whenever I post something too down there.
On Discord?
No, on Twitter.
Yes, I follow your Twitter. It's not creepy. It's not creepy, but I did select notify me of all tweets. So
Scroll down your notifications. I want to see something. I want to see where
hang
one
on.
of mine pops up.
Am I still screen sharing?
Yep.
Okay. So these are my notifications.
A lot of likes.
Yeah.
And what's that bell one? Just back up there.
Up. There's heaps here.
Oh, new tweet notifications.
Yeah.
From...
I guess that's the thing everyone has, where you get all the new ones, and I'm like, that.
You following all the clubs, are you?
I try to follow a lot because it's interesting. It's fun.
Tigers, eels, roosters,
See,
rabbits, dogs.
You know the funny thing is, rugby NRL is one of the most troublous things I've ever seen. But I'm at that point where I just don't care about that part. Like, I just want everyone to be awesome and all fans to enjoy their clubs.
Like a good community.
Yeah, I'll indulge in jokes from time to time, like jokes about clubs. But that goes for me
here and there.
Yeah, like for banter's sake, it's great. It's fantastic. It's fun to watch the back and forward. But like, the way I see it is all clubs need, the stronger all the clubs are, the better it is.
The more quality of the competition.
Yeah, because it's better for the individual if all the clubs are good. Because the more the clubs are successful, the more eyeballs you get on the sport, the more people want to play the sport. So as kids, so we've got more talent in the game, more money is invested in the game, more sponsorships, more all, like the comp itself is better. So from my perspective, I want everyone to be as good as they can be, because that's better for the comp as a whole, which is better for my club. So all these clubs that are down at the moment, Tigers, Dogs, Broncos, I want them to be good because it makes the comp better, which makes everything better, even for my club. That's why whenever people are like, I want that club to be shit, fuck them, they should be the worst ever. I'm like, no, you don't want that, because that affects you.
The big concern right now in regards to quality of the competition is what's going to happen when a 17th team most likely gets added into the draw for 2023.
The thing that will change will be essentially each week at least one team's going to have a bye. That's what's going to happen.
Well, more so like quality of the competition.
Yeah, I'm not seeing any.
It's going to be hard to get a new team like going, but in saying that, the talent pool is going to have to be spread that little bit thinner, which means most teams are going to have more youngsters every week.
Yeah. The thing with yours is I don't see a lot of your notification when I look down at the notifications, is because you don't seem to use Twitter much.
I don't use anything much. I'm not a social talkative person.
Yeah.
Also, like my Sydney Sixers profile header, 2-time BBL champions.
I'm not going to lie. I think
I've got a club I support that can actually win things.
I'm not going to lie. Like, this is going to get me massive, and I'm probably going to have like an assassin shot for this. I'm a traditionalist when it comes to cricket. When BBL became the big thing in Australia and Test and one day cricket dwindled, I stopped watching. There is nothing better to me than watching a football season. Then when that ends, going through the Test and one day season, and then going back to football. That to me is like the best life ever. I love it. BBL to me is fucking like horrendous.
You do have an Ashes series coming up.
But I haven't even watched Test cricket for a while. Like, cricket just dwindled in my interest after, because you try and get into it, and it's like now everyone just is more interested in the BBL. And I wouldn't mind it, if it was like an accompanied test and one day cricket, if that makes sense.
Like, okay, so they've picked the format that could appeal the most to a wider audience. Because, yeah, you've got your traditionalists and purists who like the test format the most. But you've got a lot of kids out there who aren't going to be able to sit through 90 overs of cricket where not a heck of a lot happens, per se.
It's their own fault. I grew up on this. I grew up watching test cricket. On Channel 9.
And the BBL has just grown exponentially. Like this season that's about to start.
And I'm happy for it to be a thing. It's like fans seem to prefer it, and I'm like, okay, that's fine, but you know, it's obviously taking over. I'm like, that's fine. You have your thing. I'm not gonna say it shouldn't be a thing, but it's not my thing. So
gonna have to change my my bio to say 7th year West Tigers member in 2022.
Well, I said to the wife, I'm like, you know, now that lockdown's coming out, the only reason I'm not a Panthers member right now is just affordability. It's just, we were 2016, 17, we were, but we had to drop it. Children take so much freaking money.
Yeah, I don't have those yet. And doesn't look like I will for a while, so I've got other things I can spend my money on.
Yeah, like
while I can.
Paying the bills here is just draining us dry. Like I work my ass off, and it's never enough sort of situation. But no, as far as the cricket goes, like I'm not one of those people who go Test cricket should be it, kill BBL. I don't want to kill it. I think it's cool. I think it has its place. Like I've watched some games, like it can be fun.
They really tried to make it a family party atmosphere, and I think that's worked for them.
Yeah, and it's cool. Like that can be cool. I just wish it would be more a part of like and maybe it's happening over time more and more. I just wish it would be more of a all encompassing, let's all include it all as cricket together, in some way or another. Which maybe because it is a newer thing. I guess one day cricket came in as its own thing at one point, so maybe over time they'll get better at it, and then it'll all work properly. But it's like fans seem to prefer the BBL. It's like it's just taking over, and I'm like, I just got to the point where I just stopped caring.
Yeah.
Like it's just it's not me, I guess, but no, I'll never say, hey, it should just be done. Like, it's got its place, sure. But no, as far as Twitter goes, no, I don't like, because I get a lot of notifications because I sort of branch between two subjects, football, and then there's TV and movie discussion. Certain YouTubers and their Twitters and stuff. So yeah, because you don't use it very much. Yours, I see them, but then they fade down quite quickly because obviously you don't have that many.
I've used it a little bit more lately. Like I've got a whole bunch of people who've recently started following me in the last 6 or so months when I've actually picked it back up again a little bit.
I did see that one where you tagged a bunch of us and like Nat Sinclair and that.
Yeah, me trying to be all nice and supportive and friendly while dying inside. Trying to be a good sport.
But that got a lot of good reception from it. So, I mean, if you keep that up, you'll be a social media sort of royalty soon.
Don't toot my horn that much.
Well, it is funny, like recently I've discovered just how many people out there are doing the podcast and stuff. There's so many that I didn't realize existed.
Yeah, I've given you little tastes and tidbits of Westlife every now and then.
Oh, for the record, I think they're great. I would love nothing more than to get either one or all of them on. That would be amazing. Like they're fantastic. I love their stuff. Like I know I'm the enemy being a Panthers fan. But
I could definitely talk to them about it.
But like either way, I would go on there. They come on here, whatever. Like I think they do a good job. They go on. They're honest with their own opinions, and
And like you have a soft spot for the club, so
yeah, like I would more than happy to get a spot on there. Like it'd be great. Like even when they do, like they've mentioned the Ivan thing a couple of times. I guess as Tigers fans, you can't not because it is recent history.
you're basically like an outsider looking in. So that sort of perspective
like-
might be an interesting one to get on the show.
Like, and yeah, pitch it to them because even when they have discussed it, like I've never gone, oh my God. Like it's a case of you always get the feeling that whatever they're saying, talking about at the time, they're just being honest about it.
Yeah.
Like this is just how they feel. So you kind of come away from it, whether you agree or not with something they've said, at least you can respect what they're saying.
And like that episode a month or so ago with Tripadina, the two where he came on, they were two of the most well received.
He's been great. Like, though I did do it. It's funny. I did put a tweet out. I don't know if you saw it. You probably, I don't know. You don't.
I might have.
Whether you see my tweets or not, I don't know if you follow mine or not. But I did tag them, and I was like, because Tripper, as they call him, I'm used to hearing it like that instead of his actual name, because in the podcasts, that's how they refer to him.
Yeah.
And because I do listen to the podcasts, that's how it's set in my mind. So now I think of him as Tripper. So I definitely apologize for that. It's just I've been brainwashed by West Left podcast already. But yes.
Okay, fine. I suppose we can give you that.
But yeah, so he was talking about, and he made a few mentions of it where they haven't really made signings. And I did a tweet and where I pointed out all the signings, and I tagged them in. I'm like, look, he's a little bit fact checking because you guys have Laurie. Stefano came from the Eels. I know you guys want to claim him. You did get him from the Eels, but
he played very little game time at the Eels, though. Let's just say that.
What did he get, like 30 seconds or something off the bench for one game?
His debut, he came off the bench for literally the last 5 seconds of the game and got a carry.
But whatever you want to think of it, he's still a mad signing.
Yeah.
Say what you want. I don't give a fuck. Like he's still a mad signing. So Marmalade.
Like we got Laurie early.
Yeah, you got Laurie. You got Marmalade.
It cost us Momorovsky, unfortunately.
Yeah. But it didn't have to happen, but they obviously saw that they needed him. For whatever reason, they clearly wanted that fullback position sorted then and there. They could have waited to the end of the year and brought him over when the contract was up. But they wanted it now. And that's fine. That's up to them. They could have clearly desperately wanted the fullback spot. And I can't bag the decision because Laurie played really well for you guys for the season. He was one of your best. Yeah. And I maintain, and I will fight anyone. So I am on Twitter. Anyone who wants to argue the point with me, come and have a chat. I will argue the point that if Laurie doesn't get injured, and he plays the rest of that season, I think you make 8th.
Because we were, 2 wins outside of the 8 in the end? I think.
I will fucking fight you on Twitter, not in real life. I haven't had a real fight in a long time. I have a dad board. You will hurt me, and I'm brutal. I'll take hugs, though. If you want to hug, that's fine. I'll have hugs. Hugs are good. Say yes to hugs. But no, seriously, I honestly think that wasn't a bad decision. Other than a bit of bad luck with the knee injury, I think you guys make the 8. I think you just scrape into 8. Yeah, shut. That's my volume. I know people can hear bling. This is the volume thing. But
like, he's nominated for the Kelly Barnes Award tonight, so he's obviously done something pretty bloody all right.
So if we just want to focus on that for a second, like this is one player that Matt said, right, I want him, I need him. The club did everything they could to get him across, and I think that's a successful signing, in my opinion. It's just some bad luck with the knee injury, but that can happen to anyone.
And the timing of it.
Like you look at the
timing of said injury.
Yeah, like that's bad luck, not bad coaching or bad recruitment. you know, and that can happen to anyone. You look at the grand final teams. Nathan Cleary had a busted shoulder. Adam Reynolds had a groin injury. Whatever.
And like, look how much even a player who's slightly less celebrated, but really should be equally celebrated, Luciano Leilua. He was like a bargain basement pickup from the Dragons, and he came
He was
to
one of your
us
best.
and absolutely excelled in 2020. Not as much in 2021, but he
But
for
still,
sure excelled in 2020.
To his credit, he's one of those players you had in your team where you thought if you were in trouble, he could contribute to getting you out of it.
Yeah, he had us covered.
Like, he was one of your reliable players. You've probably got a top 5 of players, so you could probably say, right, these are our guys, and he's one of those that you want to build around.
Yep.
Him, Stefano, Laurie, Blore,
and Twal
are probably the guys that you're like, yes, we have to keep these. These are the guys we're building around. It's on Brooks. I would include in there, but he has to step up a little bit. Like, statistically, he was good.
Well, more often.
Yeah, statistically, he was good this year, relatively speaking. But he needs to take games. Like, he needs to
scruff of the neck.
Yeah, he needs to enforce himself more on the competition. Like, even in a losing team, like, you could always tell with Nathan Cleary he was going to be something special eventually.
Mm-hmm.
Brooks needs to become that. Like, even if he loses, he has to do things well. Like, if you lose a game, it's not because of Luke Brooks. The problem he's got, though, is he can have a game where he looks really good. You're like, wow, I like that guy. That's a good football player right there. But then he'll have games where he's not bad. You just don't notice him.
Yeah, he just doesn't do much.
You're the Tigers fan.
Makes
am I
mistakes
wrong?
and gets fans pissed off.
Yeah, like, am I wrong? Like, he had the Roosters game where he kicked 2 balls dead. So they're genuine mistake, and you're like, holy crap. But genuinely speaking, like, most of the time, his bad games, he's actually invisible. He's not making errors, but he's not making good plays either. He's in that weird middle ground where you kind of don't notice him. And maybe I'm wrong. So as the Tigers fan, you can tell me I'm fucking wrong. But outside of that Roosters game, I think most of his bad games are actually just he's not doing anything.
Like, he was almost sight unseen until Magic Round. Magic Round was kind of when he was like, okay, I'm here to play some football, and actually started playing some football and showed us what he was capable of. And it was clear when we won 3 of the 4 games from rounds 10 to 13, and he was a big part of all of them. And that one loss, well, that was a poor loss, but he played well in that loss too against the Warriors. He was one of the key performers in all 3 of those wins we had against the Dragons, the Knights, and you guys. Like, he was a big part of all 3 of those.
Yeah.
In that 4-week period.
I mean, your halfback should be one of the most important positions.
He needs to be, yeah.
I don't know. He's an anomaly for me. He knows what to do and he can do it. It's so strange. I wonder if it's a mental thing. If he has like something that pre-game maybe that, I don't know, he gets into it or doesn't get into it or something. I don't know. Not sure. He's hard to get a read on. But you look
He's
at
one
him,
of those players where his highs are high, but his lows are very low.
Like, if he was consistently at the good football he plays, you would never, ever hear anyone question his position. Like, he knows how to play as a halfback. He knows it. It's there. He has it in him. For some reason, it just happens inconsistently.
Exactly.
like you look at it compared to someone like Carl Flanagan, who had a horrible year at the Dogs. Like I wouldn't even put him on that level.
Yeah,
Like-
I feel really bad for Kyle through
Oh, same here.
this year. He's had a very unfortunate year.
I'm really
Like
hoping
a lot of pressure on him from his time at the Sharks, and
yeah, I'm really hoping he has a good preseason. Clear his head, give him a shot, and he has a good year. I really want that for him. But it's just this year wasn't very good for him. It just didn't pan out on the field. But we'll see. And that's it. That's the funny thing. Even in a team that didn't do so well, Avarillo played really well. Like, he was amazing. He had a great year. I was happy to watch. I really enjoyed watching his football.
There were a few players in that Bulldogs team that got like cult followings throughout the year.
Like, there are a couple of players in there that are really worth watching, even though they're a bottom 4 team. You're like, oh, I like that guy. And then with Burton coming across, it's a bit of a worry, because does Flanagan sort of just drift into the background and become, that sort of fade into obscurity kind of player, because you've got a guy who played with a lot of effort and a lot of skill, pardon me, and really looked the part. And then you've got a premiership winning massive talent coming across. Like, what happens to Flanagan? Do they put Burton and Avarillo in the halves and say, stuff it, this is what's going to win us games? Then what happens to him? Because I mean, I know the Bulldogs fullback position isn't completely sold. Personally, I wouldn't mind seeing them try Burton, Leno halves, Burton at 5'8", and then maybe put Avarillo at fullback. He's a very good runner of the football. He's extremely good at it, and he's really quick too. But fucked if I know what bloody Baz is gonna do, because he's a bit funny with his thinking.
And like on a lot of players like Flanagan, there is a lot of pressure, because obviously he was at the Sharks and playing pretty decently. He then went off to the Roosters, and he was expected to be the next big thing, and he ended up getting dropped in his season there.
Well,
and
exactly.
Then sacked early.
He came in behind Cooper Cronk, who just won a grand final with a busted shoulder. I mean, imagine the pressure on him for that season.
Insurmountable.
Like that, I feel so sorry for him, but that I can't imagine the mental strain of that season.
Yeah, it would have been very, very tough for him.
Yeah, and then to go to a bottom 4 team, expecting to make them better. Like, he's basically had 2 seasons worth of nothing but pressure.
And he tried his hardest. It just wasn't working out, and the pressure was too much.
I think so. I think if they can relieve that mental pressure, it might help out a bit.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. One more thing we need. We can't go past without pressing it. Where are we? Screen. Go to Twitter. See it here. No, bugger up. What's Twitter doing to me? Mute the music. On a Twitter post.
Yes.
It's Dane Laurie. Can't go past this one. Having a Tigers fan here. The quality's a bit dodgy, being Twitter, but
hold your horses. Hold your horses. 14 minutes ago, the club announced the Kelly Barnes Award winner, or in this case, winners.
Oh, yes.
Laurie and Brooks.
I'm shocked.
I'm shocked that Brooks was, compared to,
What's
Adam
that?
Dewey.
So what's that?
That's the club's player of the year. That's the club's player of the year award.
I'm surprised.
I noticed Brooks was one of the 5 nominees, but I didn't think he would.
I assume.
And it's not great when
Honestly,
of the
how does it not go to Laurie and Stefano? And yes, I'm not saying his surname because it's complicated and I will fuck it up and look like an idiot. I don't want to be disrespectful.
Well, there's been 156 reactions to it so far.
Yeah.
47 of them have been the laughing emoji.
Holy crap. That's decent. I mean, that's not a small amount.
Oh, and they're still coming in. We're now up to 48 out of 161.
Yeah, that'll keep growing over time. So it should have gone to Laurie and Stefano. Come on.
Yeah, I'd say so.
They were your best two all year. Your halves were Dewey, fair enough. He got shifted position a few times. Give him a season at half, whatever. But yeah, no, that's.
I mean, I'd say he possibly still outperformed the rest of the team in that time that he was there.
He was still good
despite being shifted around.
Like, I'm not talking him down, but I do think, yeah, Laurie Stefano should have got that Player of the Year. Those two are your best two.
Brooks had a good period of the year. Like, he didn't have a good year. He had a good section of the year.
Yeah,
it seems like he's still got enough points from the coaching staff to make it happen.
Inconsistent is the word. He had good moments and bad moments.
Yeah, but somehow still got enough points to tie for the award.
Which is which is a bit insulting. But anyway.
I saw that when I came back on Facebook to look for a post I saw about Laurie earlier in one of the Tigers groups I'm in.
Like, I'm glad Laurie got it because he was probably your best. If we're being honest, like, downright number one, I'd put Laurie as your best. But Stefano,
Laurie, Dewey, and Stefano. Just make it a three-way. Honestly,
I would be happy with your top three being that.
Speaking of Stefano, he did get Rookie of the Year.
Oh, good. I'm glad he got something because he played his heart out. He was good. I really liked watching him.
And I think I saw Dewey got Players Player. Let me just check. Yeah, Adam Dewey named 2021 Players Player. So that's the player voted one, the teammate voted one.
There you go. He's nice and well liked. All right. So, where are we at? Yep, I'm sharing the screen. See this? So this is the one that's called the big drama, apparently. Not the biggest drama, but a drama. Aaron May is obviously the biggest drama, but you've got Dane Laurie celebrating in a Panthers jersey, apparently.
Captured on the news. Captured by the reporters and cameramen who were wandering the streets of Penrith after the grand final.
So yes. Is that Dane? Is it real? No, it obviously is, but I guess.
Wonder what jersey he's wearing.
That looks like the current jersey. Either this year's or last year's home jersey.
No, I mean there's writing, there's like the lettering and stuff on it in the middle, so it must have been for like a special occasion debut.
I'm not sure. Yeah, like I don't think mine has that. I've got last year's home jersey, which is similar to this year. But the only difference is they changed branding. They look pretty much almost the same, with very slight variations.
Well, no, look under the seatbelt. You can see the lettering down the middle.
The lettering is usually for special occasions like grand finals and that. So mine doesn't have that. I have
maybe it was his grand final jersey from last year then.
It must have been. So he must,
or his debut, because there's lettering on debut ones as well.
They're the only things I can think of. Either last year's grand final or, well, I don't think he was.
Was he in the squad? No, he wasn't in the squad for the grand final last year, was he?
Let's have a look. I don't think he was.
I'm looking for it on my phone now.
Yeah, you'd have to, because the 21 gets named early and all that, but I don't think he was. So it'd have to be.
Well, he wasn't in the 17. He wasn't in the final 17.
No, definitely not. Absolutely not.
I don't know where I'd have to go to find it.
All good. I wouldn't worry about it. But no, it's
Maybe
an
he was in
interesting
the
one.
reserves.
It might have been in the 21 Tuesday, maybe. I
Yeah,
know,
in one
for
of those 4
example,
reserve jerseys.
this year, bloody Charlie Staines was in the 21, but he wasn't in the final 17, and he was still included in all the grand final week stuff. That might be a situation like that. And it might include that entire 21 that's named on Tuesday.
I'm just looking now. Okay, no, it's not there. Okay, no, he wasn't. Dean Farray and Spencer Leniu were omitted from the reserves 24 hours before kickoff. Matt Burton and Mitch Kenny were the last 2 players cut an hour before kickoff. So he wasn't even in the 21.
And I'm not sure.
Then that must be his debut jersey.
Yeah, that's the only thing I can think.
But yeah, I don't think it's a very good look when you're signed for one club and being paid by one club to be wearing the jersey of a different one. Yeah, I know he's a Panthers junior, and the Panthers gave him his start in the game.
Yeah, and he would have pretty much grown up with these guys.
Yeah.
So he would have an regardless of where he's employed, like he has an emotional attachment with these guys. Like he's known these guys for a long time. As far as wearing the jersey and celebrating the win, I don't know. I will leave that up to Tigers fans, honestly, to comment on, because it's not my place, I don't think, honestly.
Yeah. I don't mind him celebrating. Like, I know that's where he came from, that's where his roots are, but it's not a good look.
Yeah. So,
I wouldn't hang him for it, but yeah, it's not a great look.
or one of those things, I guess the club would have to probably pull him aside and just be like, look, bro, I know where you're at, and I'm sure you're happy your mates won, but can you settle down a bit?
You're signed by us. Please don't, go and do that.
Yeah. Probably not worth any official punishments, but maybe worth a little bit of a talking to behind closed doors, I guess. Because it is probably a bit of an awkward look. Like if I put myself in Tiger shoes for a minute, like that is a bit of an awkward look where you're like, bro, you're our fullback and you're wearing the jersey of one of our teams we're competing against.
Like a big rival.
Yeah, like, come on, man. That's definitely, the way you said it, not a good look is probably the right way to say it.
Mm.
Oh, well, might leave it there, I think. I think we're pretty good. Been here a while now.
Congratulations again on your win. I hope you enjoy the off season, and now you get to be the hunted in 2022. Everyone's going to be coming for you in that title.
Right? Every week's going to be a hard game now, because
good luck defending it.
Even the bad teams are going to want to beat us just for the bragging rights now. So, right.
But I maintain that the Tigers were one of the 4 teams to beat the 2021 Premiers.
Exactly.
So fuck yeah.
Exactly. One of the best teams, regardless. Fuck the results. But no. But yeah, so hopefully Sunday.
Screw the final ladder position of 13th. We beat the fucking Premiers.
Exactly. You beat the Premiers. Fuck the rest of them. Some of those top 4 teams can't even say that.
Hey, just like in 2018, we beat both grand finalists in the first 2 rounds of the season.
Exactly.
Then beat the Storm again 3 weeks later. We just nowhere near the finals by the end of the season.
Well, a lot of people say Moses threw some games in there, so. And what are you crazy times? But yeah, hopefully
we've had plenty
Sunday
of those.
we'll start doing some maybe team
Season reviews.
So that should be good. It'll be good. I'm actually kind of looking forward to that because it's fun to sort of go over all the teams and get a nice variety of stuff. So that'll
Start
be
with
good.
bottom 4 and work our way up.
Yeah. Hopefully everyone enjoyed and catch you Sunday.